The awakening of John's the night was calm at first, the ocean waves rolling in their endless rhythm, the stars shining above like silver fires. But then the earth shook. A deep sound echoing from the bottom of the sea, like the growl of something ancient and alive. Fishermen on the coast dropped their nets, staring into the water as glowing cracks of light spread under the waves. Boats rocked, alarms blared, and the world changed in an instant. From the ocean, a shadow rose, taller than the tallest buildings, scales glittering like black steel, eyes burning with alien fire. The creature lifted its head and roared, a sound so loud that glass shattered miles away. Waves surged, swallowing ships as the monster rose fully, its body like a mountain come alive. The people screamed one word, whispered in fear, Godzilla. But this was no ordinary Godzilla. This was an alien beast, a weapon built on another world, its power far beyond anything Earth had ever seen. Across the planet, deep in the frozen mountains, another stir began. Snow cracked, rocks fell, as a giant hand pushed through the ice. A roar thundered through the valleys, shaking trees, and sending avalanches crashing down. The beast stood tall, covered in fur as dark as the night sky, its chest broad, its fists heavy as boulders. This was the ancient guardian, the one humanity once called King Kong. But he too was not what he seemed. Long ago, his kind had been placed on Earth to protect it, silent watchers of the planet's balance. Now, awakened, he knew his enemy had returned. The first clash came quickly. Alien Godzilla marched from the sea, each step sending shockwaves through the cities. Skyscrapers crumbling under his weight. Electric storms followed him, lightning flashing across the sky as if the heavens themselves feared his presence. King Kong roared from the mountains, slamming his fists into the ground. He ran through forests, crushing trees, leaving an earthquake in his wake as he charged toward the threat. Humans watched from their screens, from bunkers, from rooftops. News channels showed the monsters in real time, their roars shaking the cameras, their size too great to even fit in one frame. Panic spread across nations, armies mobilized, jets flew into the skies, tanks rolled into the streets. But deep down, everyone knew human weapons could not stop them. This was a battle far beyond missiles and bombs. This was a war of gods. Scientists worked desperately in underground labs, trying to understand the truth. They discovered ancient carvings, long forgotten in temples, showing two titans locked in battle, one a conqueror from the stars, the other a guardian of the earth. The pattern was clear. This fight was not new. It was destiny repeating itself. And this time, humanity was caught in the middle. As Godzilla roared, beams of blue fire shot from his mouth, cutting through the city like knives of pure energy. Bridges melted, towers collapsed, streets burned as chaos spread. People ran, their cries drowned by the roar of the beast. Then came the answer. Kong leapt into the city, landing with a crash that split the earth, his eyes locked on the monster from the sea. The two titans faced each other, their breaths steaming in the cold night, their muscles tense, their rage boiling. And then they charged. The ground cracked under their weight. Buildings exploded as they slammed into each other. Godzilla's claws ripped through concrete. Kong's fists struck like thunder. Their roars echoed across the world, shaking hearts and filling souls with terror. This was no longer a city. It was a battlefield of giants. Every blow shook the earth. Every strike sent shockwaves across the land. Humans could only watch, powerless. Some prayed, some screamed, others simply stared. For the first time, the planet realized it was no longer theirs. They were standing on a chessboard of ancient powers, and the pieces had just begun to move. As the titans fought, lightning ripped across the sky, rain poured, fire burned. The world itself seemed to tremble as if nature was bowing to the war. Scientists whispered that this battle would not stop here. If the titans fought until one fell, the planet might break with them. It was not just a fight of monsters. It was the clash of worlds. And as the two giants roared once more, their voices shaking the stars, humanity knew one thing. This was only the beginning. The clash of world shook as the battle of titans spread across the land. Alien Godzilla marched with fury, his steps like thunder, his glowing scales lighting the night sky. Each roar sent shockwaves that shattered windows and toppled towers. His tail swung like a giant hammer, crushing bridges, tearing through highways. The ocean followed him inland, flooding streets with walls of water, drowning whole districts. King Kong answered with his own roar. Fierce and defiant, he leapt over rivers, smashing through skyscrapers, his fists slamming against the alien beast. Each strike landed like an earthquake, cracking the ground and sending rubble flying. But Godzilla was not just strength. He was something more, something alien. He opened his jaws and unleashed a beam of blinding blue energy. The blast cut through the city, melting steel, turning concrete into rivers of fire. Humans could only run, but many stayed behind to watch. Reporters filmed from rooftops. Soldiers fired missiles that vanished against the Titans' hides. Fighter jets screamed overhead, launching their weapons. But the giants did not slow. Every human weapon looked small, useless, like sparks against mountains. Still, humanity tried, because to do nothing meant to surrender their world. In the chaos, scientists studied every movement. They realized something the people could not see. Godzilla was more than a monster. He was an invader, a living weapon made for war. His power came from the stars, a design to perfect, to unnatural. Kong, on the other hand, was born of Earth. Every blow he struck was not just defense, but protection. He was the guardian of balance, chosen long before humans walked the soil. As the two titans clashed, the ground split, fire and water colliding, skies turned dark. Lightning flashing with every roar, people whispered in fear, the end has come. But some voices rose in courage. A young commander named Sarah stood before her soldiers, her voice steady. We cannot defeat them with weapons, but we can choose who wins. Her words spread like fire, carried across radios, screens, and satellites. If humanity could not stop the Titans, they could at least stand with one. Sarah studied the battle, her eyes sharp, her heart racing. She noticed how Kong reacted to human cries. When people screamed, he turned his head, his rage shifting toward the real threat. When buildings fell, he tried to shield them. Even as Godzilla's attacks tore him apart, Sarah whispered, "He is not our enemy, he is our ally." For the first time, humans understood. This fight was not monsters against Earth, it was Earth itself, fighting for survival. The military changed its strategy. Jets circled above, not to attack Kong, but to give him cover. Tanks moved into the streets, firing at Godzilla to draw his attention away from fleeing civilians. Scientists sent signals, flashes of light and sound, guiding Kong toward weak points in the alien beast's body. It was a desperate plan, but it gave humanity something they had not felt all night: hope. The Titans' battle grew fiercer. Godzilla slammed Kong into a mountain, rocks exploding into the sky. Kong roared, pulling himself free, blood on his fur, his fists glowing faintly with heat from Godzilla's energy blasts. He grabbed a broken tower, wielding it like a spear, driving it into the monster's shoulder. The alien beast shrieked, stumbling for the first time. The crowd of humans watching on screens cheered. For a brief moment, it seemed the Guardian might win. But Godzilla's fury only grew. His body glowed brighter, the blue fire spreading across his scales. Energy surged in his chest, building toward a final blast. The sky itself shook as he prepared to unleash destruction that would end the fight. Kong staggered, exhausted, his body trembling from the wounds. He looked to the humans, their voices shouting, their lights flashing, their courage burning. And then, he roared again. Not for himself, but for them. The two titans charged once more. Their clash lit the horizon, their shadows stretching across the world. Every roar shook mountains, every strike shattered the land. The humans held their breath, praying, hoping, waiting. For in this battle, the fate of Earth itself was being written. Humanity's choicest city was burning. the skies torn apart by lightning, and the oceans rising like living walls. Alien Godzilla stood in the ruins, his body glowing brighter than ever, his scales humming with deadly energy. Each step he took cracked the ground, sending fire and water bursting through the streets. His roar echoed through the heavens, a sound of pure destruction. This was not just a monster. It was the wrath of an alien world brought to Earth. Kong stumbled, his body battered, burned, blood dripping from his arms. His chest heaved as he tried to rise again, his fists trembling with exhaustion. He had fought with all his strength, but Godzilla's alien power seemed endless. The humans watched in horror, their hearts sinking. It seemed the Guardian would fall, and with him, the planet itself. But then, something changed. Commander Sarah stood before her soldiers, her voice firm even in the chaos. "We are not powerless," she said. Her words carried through every channel, every radio, every broadcast. "We cannot fight him as titans, but we can fight as humans, and we can help Kong win." Her voice spread across the world. People in bunkers, soldiers on the field, scientists in labs, and families watching from their homes, they all heard, and they all answered. The humans worked together. Satellites turned their signals to guide Kong, highlighting weak points in Godzilla's glowing body. Jets circled the skies, dropping flares and bombs, not to kill, but to distract, to blind, to give Kong a chance. Tanks roared across broken streets, firing at the alien beast's legs, slowing his march. Scientists activated old energy grids, flooding the city with power, shocking the ground beneath Godzilla's feet. It was humanity's first true strike, not with strength, but with unity. Kong lifted his head, his eyes glowing with fire. He felt their support, their voices, their courage flowing into him like a second heart. With a roar that shook the stars, he rose once more. He grabbed the broken steel tower he had used before. This time, lightning flashed across the sky, striking the metal, charging it with power. The weapon burned with energy, glowing like a spear of the gods. Godzilla saw him and unleashed his beam of cosmic fire. The blue light cut across the battlefield, tearing through buildings and melting the earth. Kong leapt forward, the weapon in his hands, his roar shaking the heavens. The two forces collided, fire against lightning, alien destruction against Earth's defiance. The shockwave blasted across the land, flattening everything in its path. For a moment, the world held its breath, and then the alien beast screamed, its body splitting with cracks of light. The spear drove deep, energy bursting through its chest. Godzilla staggered, its glow fading, its roar breaking into silence. With one final collapse, the alien weapon fell, its massive body crashing into the sea, sending waves across the horizon. The battle was over, the skies cleared, the fires dimmed, and the earth itself seemed to sigh with relief. Kong stood tall, his chest heaving, his body broken but his spirit unbroken. He looked down at the humans who had fought beside him, their lights still flashing, their voices still calling. For the first time, a titan bowed his head, not in defeat, but in respect. The Guardian had chosen his allies, and the humans had chosen him. The people erupted in cheers, their voices carrying across the world. They were alive. They had fought, and together they had won. Sarah stood with tears in her eyes, whispering softly, "Humanity did not fall. Humanity stood." Kong roared one last time, not of rage, but of triumph. His voice carried across mountains and oceans, a sound of victory that reached every corner of the earth. The war of titans was over, but a new truth had been written. Humanity was no longer just a witness, no longer just prey. They had stood with gods and survived. And as the giant walked back into the mountains, his shadow fading into the storm, the world knew one thing: this was not the end. It was the beginning of a new age, an age where humanity was no longer small, an age where courage could stand against the stars.